guys, this is Maria. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will be sharing with you how we started solids with my 6-month-old baby Juliet, and also go into kind of like a rundown of baby-led weaning. Mention how we started, what some of the ideas for the first foods, and also the benefits of baby-led weaning that extend far beyond your child's feeding into other areas of development. Baby-led weaning might sound fancy and trendy, but it actually is not. It is very traditional and very, rooted in history, because if you think about it, we did not have blenders and NutriBullets and all those things back in the day. So whatever you had, whatever table foods you had around you, your baby ate at the time. And that's what baby-led weaning is in essence. It's just introducing table foods, skipping over the purées. It is very easy, and it is actually quite less time consuming than trying to do all the purées. I have 3 children, and with my first one, I did all of the purées. I used to steam broccoli, pears, apples, and then I would puree them, trying to make the best flavors. And it took a long time for me to get it all done. Where with baby-led weaning, with my second and third, just because I don't have time, it kind of like happened naturally. Now, let's talk about why baby-led weaning. What are the benefits and what it actually is, and what are the first foods? Well, baby-led weaning actually has many benefits. From number one, introducing to your child to the foods in the whole form. So when you do baby-led weaning, you want to introduce them the foods that are healthy, the way they come in nature, such as bananas, avocados, peaches, pears, all those. And it also introduces them to different textures. Introducing them to different textures, being connected to children to be less likely to grow up to be picky eaters, smashing and touching it with their fingers, and that actually is also is connected to them having less sensory issues as they grow up. Now, just because you do purées with your child doesn't mean they're gonna have any issues at all. It just means that you're introducing your child to this textures early. You're just giving them an upper leg. The next benefit, which I've actually learned from a speech pathologist, is that introducing your child to different types of textures and letting them chew it and actually gum it down, even if they don't have any teeth, helps them develop oral muscles for speech. So the more they move their tongue around, touching different foods and trying to chew them up, the better their muscles will be, and it actually can have a positive impact on their speech development as well. Now, finishing up with all of those cool benefits, let's talk about what foods can you introduce, how to introduce them, and in a proper way, and what you can expect doing those. So some of the first foods that I've done with both my son and my daughter, I've done bananas, avocados, pears, and peaches. They are soft, they are easy to hold, they're rather tasty for children. And I also do apples. Apples I always watch for. I actually give them apples more to like lick. And apple is probably the first food all of my children try. I typically would be eating an apple myself, and then they would be like, oh, I want to try, and I would let them lick it. That's kind of how I knew that Juliet is ready for solids. She would just grab the apples out of my hands. Conventionally, a lot of pediatricians and a lot of books suggest giving such things as cereal or Cheerios and all those things. I actually am completely against it. I think giving your child processed foods is one of the worst things to when they first start eating, because they might be sweetened naturally, but they are not the foods that you want your child to grow up loving. But they aren't the most nutrient dense foods, so I would stay away from them and give your child whole foods, because you have this one shot to get it right and let them eat real foods that full of nutrients, starting with soft solids. Now, when you have a 6-month-old, they're still grasping with a full hand. So baby-led weaning, rule number 1, you give them the chunks of food that are about finger size. As they get older, let's say they are about 8 to 9 months and they start to develop their pincer grasp, it's when they use their 3 fingers to pick up items. That's when you can start cubing their foods into small cubes, like about this big. I will say that my daughter, I've introduced her to soup, which has boiled potatoes that is kind of cubed and carrots, and she has no issues gumming that. Now, there's a few things to be mindful when you do decide to start the baby-led weaning. Number one, if your child is ready. Well, the first sign of readiness that they want to eat the food that you are eating. Like I mentioned, my children, there was no mistake. They really wanted some of those solid foods that I was eating. Number two, they are able to sit up and hold their back independently. And number three, they actually are capable of putting the food in their mouth. So they are bringing their hands to their mouth with the food. Then you also need to be mindful of allergens and what foods can you feed to your child. If you have any sensitivities in the family or allergies in the family history, you can always rub certain foods first on their skin, give it a few minutes, and if it gets red, they probably can skip that food for now. Good examples would be strawberries, tomatoes, peanut butter, oranges, like acidic foods, pineapple, things that are known to cause allergies. Now, if your child doesn't have a reaction, you might want to give it a try. Start small, try to give the same food for a while. So if your child does get a reaction, you're able to catch up onto it. How frequently do you want to feed your baby? Well, I aim for 2-3 times a day. When you do baby-led weaning, make sure you always are around your child because they can bite off, even though they might not have any teeth, pretty sizable bites. Most of the time they will spit them out, but there's always, a danger of choking. So you might want to watch your child closely. Also, using the silicone bibs with pockets, that's like the best thing to have on hand. And I usually use fabric ones just to wipe their face. And that's about it. You just need the baby, the food, and the feeding chair. I love mine. I have a pet Perego Siesta. I love the fact that the top tray actually easily comes off and I can wash it without having to undo the whole chair. The fabric comes out as well, so it's pretty easy and maneuverable, and I've used it with all of my children. All right, now a few tips for you from my experience. Baby-led weaning or starting solids in general can cause your baby to be constipated. My son and my youngest one right now went from like pooping every day to pooping every 2 to 3 days. And if they're getting clogged up, there's certain foods you might want to avoid in the beginning, like bananas, for example, do tend to constipate your child. So if you are going like on day 2 or 3, the baby haven't pooped, maybe skip the bananas and you can give them blueberries. Typically, I peel off the skin of the blueberries. I leave just a little bit of it for her to try it. But if she is being plugged up, I leave a bit more skin and it clears her up immediately. Now some people are very strict about it, some people aren't. Like in the baby-led weaning approach, you aren't supposed to per se feed your child, like give it into their mouth. And it's a big no-no for some. In my opinion, I'm like rules or guidelines to follow, if you decide to do so. So sometimes I will feed them, like for example, ground beef, she's not able to pick up yet, but she's able to chomp it down with her gums, which are very strong. So I would rather her have the nutrients, just put in smaller pieces, go smaller than bigger, and watch your child and whatever works for your family. I hope this video was helpful for you guys and gave you some ideas on how to get started, what foods to introduce, and what to watch out for. Enjoy this journey. Subscribe and watch my vlogs. I probably will be doing more baby updates coming up, and I will share with you more recipes and foods that she's eating in my daily vlogs. Hope to see you later. Bye!